We're good, we're good. But exclamation mark Rancherino in the chat if you guys want to be surprised for yourself. Likewise, again, even just following the channel is enough support, whether it's here on Twitch, whether it's on YouTube. VODs are available on YouTube instantly as well, so whether you prefer Twitch or YouTube, and you can pick your platform as we are diving into the grand finals and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crimson Court. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the red Protoss, living in the land of South Korea currently, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is, you know what time it is. It's time to gamba. Let's go. Predictions are now open. Place your bets in the chat for who you think will claim the series. Again, both players have been on fire, of course. ByuN, he is the reigning champion of last week's tournament. But Trigger, he's walking that royal road. He is doing well so far. He took down Shin, one of the other favorites of the event, 2-0. But how does Trigger fare in a PvT? Now, what I will say coming into this is that Trigger has the luxury, has the experience of practicing with Clem. For those who do not know, Trigger is currently in South Korea, and when Clem was in Korea, they were living together. Trigger, Estrella, Future, and Clem, they were all living together in an Airbnb. They're all staying together, preparing for EWC, preparing for Esports World Cup, and clearly it paid off. Clearly it did pay off. Clem was able to, of course, be our champion. Oh god, as the probe gets shut down. Oh god. Rough start for Trigger. But Clem is now our world champion, now the best player in the world. And Trigger was a part of that. You know, Trigger, he did play his part, of course, allowing for, helping to facilitate for that kind of team house environment. And helping in the practice, in the preparation. And now, how is Trigger looking in the aftermath of EWC? Again, Trigger, unfortunately, wasn't a part of Esports World Cup. He wasn't able to represent his nation at the event. It was Estrella instead. Estrella was repping NA. We'll see if Trigger can showcase his PvT here and now. Now standard opener, gate expanded to Cybercore. Likewise, ByuN going for the Rax expand back at home. Oh, my apologies, going for the double gas opener back at home. So double gas out of ByuN, going for a delayed CC, going for a faster factory, and opening up with additional Reapers and Hellions. So a bit of a more assertive start by ByuN. Dipping in. Oh! Catching a probe. One probe goes down, but the boys are being pulled and we lock down the Reapers. Not a bad defense here by Trigger. He will shut this down. All the Reapers will fall and he saves his workers. We'll lose 2 probes in total for 2 Reapers. Not bad. Hellion dives into the natural. And Trigger does pull away in time. Does save his workers. Hellion coming back in. Gets 1 probe. It's 1 extra worker. Just the 1 though. So, oh, does get away. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. Hellion gets shut down. And these were better trades for the Protoss. Looking at the Unisource tab, that was 2 Reapers and 1 Hellion for 3 probes. Basically, 1-to-1 trades, and ideally we want more than that. What I will say, though, is at least ByuN got a full scout. We have a tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener from Trigger, and ByuN did not confirm. Oh, okay. ByuN is slightly in the dark here, as of the tech of choice. Setting up a trap in the middle of the map. Widowmines are burrowed. Following it up with the drop. So Widowmine drop into the main. Back at home, getting to his 2-1-1. Soon to be 3-1-1 setup. Widowmine's moving out. And so far, Trigger has held his own, but can he keep up with the drop play? As he has 2 Stalkers in the main, 2 Stalkers at the natural. Medevac is revealed, and Trigger does respond. Widowmine's going for the main base. Trigger does pull away in time. Oh my god. Losing 2 probes so far. Not bad for ByuN. He also did go a little bit further in and did scout the tech. Is aware of Blink. He is aware of the Twilight Council. So ByuN confirms. And really that's the main kind of value here in the Widowmine drop. You're not really meant to get damaged with this. Like getting 2 probes to 2 Widowmines is for the course. But really what's important is rescouting. Rescouting and confirming what the Protoss is up to with the medevac. Meanwhile, Trigger taking a third. This is the power of Crimson Court. This is also why we often see this map vetoed, is because this third base is quite secure, quite difficult to harass, without knocking down rocks or going for drops. Very often we do see more later games here on Crimson Court, as players can secure their third, fourth, and even fifth bases. Observer gets caught out. Trigger does at least confirm the production. And Trigger, he's hoping to try to meet up with that main army, try to slow it to try to slow it down as best he can. Will actually miss the move out. Oh, run jump comes in. Trigger does run up. The probes. Jesus. When my shot goes off, nice retargeting out of ByuN, buying time. 3 probes go down at the same time. Stalkers, they get across the map. They go for the natural. But ByuN is pushing, and Trigger did miss the move out. Tanks have arrived. SCVs are falling. Well, those are 2 tanks that are getting within range. And Trigger forced a recall. But the tanks do siege. Pylon's going to go down. That will depower the Robo. The Robo's depowered. It's going to be repowered by the backup Pylon, thankfully. But Trigger, he's up against the wall. 10 probes going down. The Robo under fire within range of the tanks. Oh, and that might just be too much. Medevac is sniped. The Colossus is denied. Observer goes down as well. And ByuN is going for the kill. Going for the throat. Nexus under fire. The tanks within range of everything. The Pylons, the Robo, and the base. And Trigger, he goes to the blink. GG gets called, he gets shut down, and ByuN takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. ByuN taking a lead in the series. Unfortunately for Trigger, he did miss the move out. He did go for a counterattack with his Stalkers, but he alas did miss the main army. Likewise, the Observer got sniped, so Trigger was unaware of the move out. Because of that, he was unable to slow it down as well. Unable to slow it down, unable to buy time and force sieges. With that, GG. GG, well played. We are jumping into game number 2. Oh, a very decisive game there from ByuN, but again, I'm sure we're going to have a more back and forth here. I'm hoping that we can have a more back and forth game state as we're loading into post-youth. Once again, very different map. We're going to be experiencing it for the first time tonight. An often vetoed map in the map pool. But hey, it's the best of 5. In this kind of scenario, we can experience them more often. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of post-youth. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Basilisk, down in the series. Looking to bounce back here and now to tie things up. It is Trigger. Here we go. As we are going to be entering up or settling into the mid game or in the early game. ByuN going for more economic opener, which makes sense on post-youth. You do have the pocket expansion, the in-base natural, so you can cut corners and be more greedy. See in the chat talking about engaging the army ahead of time. I mean, we spoke about it. That's also the unfortunate scenario that Trigger was in, where half his Stalkers were across the map instead of everything all together. Again, he was out of position, and ByuN did take full advantage of Trigger. But I'm sure we'll see a very different kind of game state here in game 2. ByuN going for the CC on location. Trigger will spot, will attempt to delay. Will be as annoying as possible. Attempts to delay, but the CC is going to be thrown down. Trigger has to pull away. And likewise, back at home, Trigger also embracing his own expansion. And we'll see where we go from here. As a reminder, last game, ByuN did open up with a mine drop into a very committed move out. I would imagine Blink once again for Trigger, but we'll see. Bearing in mind as well that Trigger did go for a 2-gate Blink into a third. this time might go for a safer opener instead, referring to 3-gate blink stalkers and maybe even 4-gate blink. I'm not too fond of 4-gate blink on this map, so I'm not leaning too heavily on that, but we'll see how many gateways are invested. Reaper dips into the main. We'll threaten the mineral line. Not finding too much damage. It's going to be a Twilight Council once again for Trigger. But the real question becomes, how many gateways? How economic or how safe is Trigger going to be? Was the first probe is going to go down. Nice KDA charge from ByuN. Gets one probe. Behind this, ooh, rushing into a third CC. Looks like 3 CC, 3 racks out of ByuN. Oh my, a very greedy build here from the Terran player. This leads into a stim timing. This leads into a ByuN move out. But again, with a very fast third, this does mean that ByuN is going to snowball out of control in the mid game. And now suddenly the pressure is on Trigger to punish this, to punish the greed of ByuN. And we'll see if Trigger can. But now Trigger's in the dark. Trigger just maintaining his bases, going for a second gateway. For the time being, 2-gate blink. Probe is on the way. And again, something like 3 or 4-gate blink stalkers can punish this. For the time being, Trigger is still settling in. Now, the way this works is, again, Stim is on the way. We're building up a heavy bio army for ByuN. It's going to be a delayed 3 racks. But it's not really designed to get damage done, just designed to defend, to allow you to get your third base up and running. To get that third. And just skyrocket ahead in the economy. Behind this, it does look like 2-gate blink into a third. So Trigger is going for an economic start. Which, on the one hand, is... I mean, he's going to get away with it. Like, he's going to be fine. Unlike the previous game, he's not going to be shut down. But ByuN is being greedier. He's just being more greedy. And we'll get away with it. Behind this, Trigger going to be working towards Storm, not Colossus. Let's go. Temple Archives on the way. Working towards Storm. Do love to see it. Can be quite risky, of course, as your splash damage is going to be more limited compared to Colossus, but has a lot of potential. How much more damage it can deal. Trigger just now dipping into the main, and it looks like he will scout the CC. He confirms the third base is already done, and now Trigger knows. Now Trigger knows how greedy ByuN has been, but can he really do anything about it? He can be active with his stalkers, that is true, but I'm not so sure he can really delay the third base. Okay, ByuN is aware, scans, shuts down the Observer. Observer goes down, stalkers are pushing. But that's going to be a lot of bio, a lot of Marines Marauders with Stim. And Trigger cannot push into this. Storm is almost done. And Storm, mass gateway explosion behind this, getting to charge lots. Now the downside of this army composition or this build up for ByuN is the lack of factory-based units. Like, there's no Widow Mines, there's no tanks behind this. This army has a lot of DPS, but it's also quite fragile to something like Storms. And here we go. Trigger is pushing. And if the Storms do connect, Trigger can break through this. Speaking of, not bad. Oh my god. A good third of the army goes down. A nice initial Storm. Zoning ByuN away. Just melting those Marines. And here come the reinforcements. More Zealots and Archon. Trigger, can he break through this? Oh! Nice spread from ByuN. Avoiding the Storm, at least trying to. Doesn't quite snipe. And Trigger, he's breaking through. Oh, another massive Storm. A good connection. There's one Storm left. And he's going for it. A nice spread here from ByuN. Does split up his army. Yeah, only Stalkers remaining. We need Zealots. Boys are being pulled. Like Trigger, he's so close to breaking ByuN. But the Concave is too good. Stalkers are going down. Reinforcements not in time, but he does get 13 SCVs. Does get the middle line. Trigger, he's doing it. Breaks through the middle line. 14 SCVs go down. He has punished the greed here of ByuN. Punished the composition. And he will deny the third. The Ghost Academy is also exposed. Could go down as well. Do we have a storm? Not quite yet. High Templar just morphed in. Archons are being targeted. The High Templar, they need a couple more seconds, a little bit more time. ByuN does hold, but again, it costs him every single worker at the third. 17 SCVs. At least ByuN does save the Ghost Academy. Forces back the army. Trigger taking his own fourth, going for the gold. And it's going to be now on ByuN to go for some counter aggression. Prism drop across the map. Drop into the main. Trigger not quite ready for this. Forced to recall. Oh, even depowering 4 gateways. Denying the warp in. Massive storm. Even snipes the immortal. Oh my. ByuN getting so much value. Speaking of value across the map, 4 CVs. Not bad. But ByuN did snipe an immortal. Did depower the gateways. And did force a recall. So ByuN did get more out of his drop. Trigger trying to catch out the army. Forcing out a storm. Still very tense. Trigger not at the goal base. It's exposed. Does have a handful of Zealots. The immortal miss rally. Brutal pick off. Another immortal goes down. That's 2 immortals sniped. Well, Zealots, they do force some friendly fire. Nice clean up here at the Trigger. It does have 5 High Templar. Doesn't have 5 storms though. Ghost coming in. EMP. Oh my god, massive EMPs catches every single High Templar. Not like this. And Trigger, he has overextended, gonna lose everything. The Immortals, the Archons, the High Templar as well. Yeah, ByuN is snowballing out of control. Trigger going for a desperation warping across the map, trying to force ByuN back home. ByuN does turn around with his reinforcements, but he has plenty back home to defend. Yeah, he's stimming in. ByuN is third base back up and running. And he's breaking through. He's just pulling Trigger apart. Trigger cannot keep up. Again, this is the downside of opening up Storm, is that your High Templar, they're so fragile, but also so important. And if they get EMP'd, that's game. Because that's all the splash damage you had. There are no Colossus. There are no Disruptors. Trigger did need that Storm. And with that, the 4th base goes down. Trigger, he was playing on a knife's edge, Pappy. And with that, ByuN, he doesn't just take down the 4th base, he's going for the 3rd. Gets 22 probes. 22 workers go down. Looks like ByuN might be forced to pick up, but reinforcements are on the way. Just 2 immortals. Sorry, 2 marauders. Not too much, but it might just be enough. Yeah, it's barely going to be enough. As ByuN stims in, going for the last remaining units here. The Stalkers, the Immortals. GG gets called, and ByuN will take game number 2. Whew. GG. Will take the 2nd game. And now ByuN is 1 game away from becoming this week's, or a back-to-back champion. As a reminder, ByuN was last week's champion as well over Shin. And now he is 1 game away. Trigger, again, he didn't have the worst start here. He was able to cripple the economy of ByuN while taking his own gold. But remember, Trigger was pulled out of position. The drop into the main spent the recall. That also meant that Trigger had a hard time getting back towards the front lines, towards the gold, to save that as well. The EMPs were brutal. ByuN just all over Trigger there. Catching out the Immortals, the High Templar. Oh, just all over it. And now we're getting into game 3. Let's go. Here we go. We're going to be loading into ByuN. Here we go, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ByuN, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 2-0, 1 game away from becoming this week's Turtle Champion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. We go. As again, I do want to believe that we can bounce back and make a series out of this. You can see Trigger, he's a little bit paranoid, scouting for proxies. I mean, I wouldn't put it past ByuN. 2 cheese and 2 proxy in this series. But alas, ByuN going for the racks back at home and going for a double gas opener. As opposed to the previous 2 games, or the previous game, I should say, ByuN is being a little bit safer here. Going double gas, faster factory, delayed CC for ByuN. Trigger just trying to get a read on what's going on. We go. Factory now on the way. Trigger does confirm the position of the racks. He's aware. He's settling back in. And again, this is merely only the beginning of the night as well. I say beginning of the night. It's still early morning, but in how many hours time? 9 hours? In 9 or so hours time, we're going to be live once again here on the channel with the Wardy TV Monday Cup. So plenty more content. I mean, again, just Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even into Tuesday. It's all quite busy here on the Cranky Ducklings. Plenty of events on the horizon. Plenty more StarCraft to come, as the weeklies are all in full swing. As the Reaper does get behind the mineral line. It is going to be a Stargate opener this time for Trigger for the first time this series. No Blink, no Twilight Council. And the Reaper will confirm. The Reaper does get eyes on the Stargate. Likewise does delay mining at the natural for a couple of seconds. Oh, and I'm curious how aggressive ByuN is going to be here. For now, getting into his 1-1-1. And my apologies, I mean, it is a Stargate opener, but it is not Phoenix. It's going to be an Oracle first instead. It's going to be an Oracle opening. The Reaper is shut down before scouting the initial unit. So ByuN is a little bit in the dark. And this usually leads into a fast Twilight Council, and there is Twilight Council behind this. Now, on the one hand, this can catch a Terran player off guard just because they're kind of hard switching into Blink Stalkers or Charge Lots. ByuN is moving out. Hoping to catch out that initial unit. You can see ByuN focusing on anti-air. He's got Cyclones on the way, Vikings as well, getting ready for the Phoenixes. Phoenixes that are not coming. As there it is, Blink is now on the horizon. Now what I was going to say when it comes to the downside of this opener is that Blink is a lot more delayed compared to, you know, the standard Blink timing. So if ByuN were to move out, Trigger would be vulnerable. Here and now, he has nothing to defend. He has 1 Stalker and a shield battery. Thankfully, ByuN is being more defensive, at least initially. He's building up, getting ready to defend against units that aren't coming, so Trigger, he gets away with the 3rd base. 3rd base is on the way, now reinforcing. Bearing in mind, these are still vanilla Stalkers, still vulnerable. But ByuN is not pushing, he's going for a 3rd CC. So ByuN is getting in towards the mid game, which means that Trigger is safe. Should be safe. Should get away with this. As the scan does reveal the lack of production. Spots the Stargate. Trigger faking a Phoenix. Does reveal it here to the scan. Do love to see it. Trying to make it look like he's been making Phoenixes the entire time, when really it's Blink Stalkers. Here we go. The Oracle has yet to really pull the trigger as well. We have a Forge on the way for +1. Blink finishes up. Charge now on the way. The Phoenix will complete, so there is going to be some anti-air here or some way to deal with drop play. For trigger. Oh, but we'll bleed out one of those Stalkers. Takes a Mind Shot to the face. Only making the singular Phoenix. Stalkers are revealed. ByuN in position. Again, it's on ByuN to expand and take that third. It's on Trigger to delay for as long as he can. Behind this Trigger going for a massive gateway explosion. Trigger's also staying on a lower gas count. He's only got... I say that. Never mind. I was going to say only 3 gases, which is true, but now extra gases are being taken. Which means Trigger can now tech into Robotech. Into splash damage. Towards the Robotics Bay. Into Immortals, Colossus, Disruptors. More gases are being taken. And there's the Bay. Without the gases, I would have assumed it would have been a much more Zealot-heavy composition with extra gateways and just mass Zealot. No, it's taking extra gases, working towards Colossus. 4th base being taken as well. ByuN does situate himself at the 3rd. Does establish. And Trigger, he just is trying to buy time, has map control, and waiting for his 2nd Robo to come into play. To get into those Robo units. Likewise, Trigger also has his Zealot Runby ready. So if ByuN ever moves out, Trigger is ready to punish. He's ready for with the counter attack. Speaking of, he's going for it. Oh, ByuN does spot it. He pulls back. Does pull back in time. Tank, oh, not quite exposed. Trigger pulls away. And now ByuN is on notice, keeping reinforcements back at home to defend. Colossus production has begun. When the Stasis is spotted. At the same time, Zealot Runby trying to catch reinforcements, even coming in from behind. Trigger going for the surround. Does he have enough though? Auto charges are thrown down. Zealots, they just melt. And this is not the fight to take. Oh, Trigger bleeding out some Stalkers. I like the idea behind the surround, but ByuN was more than ready for it. Just down the Zealots, and now he's moving out. Now he knows, okay, I've dealt with the Runby. Zealots tried to surround me, which means they cannot counterattack. That is a lot of Zealots to defend. Colossus has arrived. Disable is not available. Needs a little bit more time. As Trigger tries to bounce on the army before the army does siege. Trading with the buy, but the Zealots go down. It is enough though. It is barely enough. Trigger does force ByuN back. Ooh, he survives. Maintains a Colossus. Trigger does hold, but it did cost him a lot of gateway units. 30. Oh my. 32 Zealots. I didn't realize just how many were thrown away there, but I mean, that was including the attempted run by earlier. Speaking of, another Runby is moving out. ByuN had to spot a Marine. Yeah, ByuN getting in position with those Widow Mines. But upon seeing the Colossus, he doesn't commit. 2nd Starport's on the way. That should be for additional Viking production. Eventually into Liberators as the game goes longer. Ghost production has begun, 2-2. Still no 4th CC for ByuN, not yet. Oh wait, no, there it is. 4th base now being taken towards the left-hand side. And Trigger's going to try to pounce in. The choke point is brutal, but the tanks are going down. Again, just a really awkward engagement here at the Xel'Naga. And ByuN, he's trading decently here, catches an Archon. Gets one, gets all the Archons actually. There's a Sable, he's going for the Colossus as well. Where's the buffer? There is none. And ByuN just dives in and takes down the Colossus. There's 2 Colossus left. A rough trade for Trigger. Workers coming in. Oh. And Trigger doesn't quite punish. ByuN gets away. Do you have another wave of reinforcements? Trigger, can he break this position? Still has those 2 Colossus. And Trigger trying to force his way in. Boy's being pulled. EMP does connect. But not many Vikings. SCVs are going down, but the Colossus are looking exposed. And the Viking count is getting higher. And ByuN, can he break through this? It's close. The Stalkers are holding their own. The final Colossus is going to go down, but here come the Zealots. And Trigger, he's done it. He breaks through the third base, takes down the SCVs. The Colossus may have gone down, but the Zealots are breaking through. The Zealots, man. They take down 31 SCVs, the third base. And Trigger is barely doing it. Okay, no more ghosts left, no more EMPs, more Zealots coming in. The gateway, man. Let's go. Who needs Colossus when you have Zealots, papi? True. Bust into the natural as well. GG gets called, and Trigger ties us, is looking to tie us up. Does put a point on the board. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Trigger does take his first game here and does start the comeback. Let's go. Does begin the comeback. Again, I was a little bit concerned that Trigger wasn't trading well enough in the center of the map, especially when reinforcements came in, but there was some nice juggling going on. Trigger lost his first Colossus relatively quickly, but did save the other 2, did buy time. They added so much more DPS to the army. Eventually they went down, but by the time they did, they traded well enough. GG. GG, well played. Trigger is fighting back, and now we can settle into game number 4. We have a back and forth. That's all I wanted, papi. That's all I wanted. We're going to be loading into Site Delta. Here we go. So we're getting into our next game. Here we go. Side Delta is going to be next. And if Trigger can win this game, if he can force the ace match, I mean, he's one step closer. What a mass, papi. One step closer. Likewise, ByuN still needs one more game to claim the series. Here we go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Side Delta, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. One game away from becoming our champion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Basilisk. One game away from forcing the ace match. Can he bring it back? Can he bring it home? Can he force that game 5? It is Trigger. Here we go. Again, Trigger having successful start to the game, if you recall, did open up Stargate into Oracle, not Phoenix. And if you remember in the early game of game number 3 there, ByuN was stuck at home. He was preparing himself to receive Phoenixes, which never arrived. As a result, Trigger was able to establish his third base uncontested, unhindered, get into his Blink Stalkers, and get into his game. Get into the mid game, I should say. It was still quite close. It was still quite tense. And Trigger was bleeding out a lot of Zealots, but was able to break through in the end. And I'm curious, do we open up Stargate again? And this time, do we actually commit into Phoenixes? Or do we go for something different? What do you have for us, Trigger? What do you have? For the time being, going to be a Cyber Core back at home, so just a Gate Cyber Expand, standard opener out of Trigger. Nothing too crazy. Meanwhile, ByuN going Marine first, not Reaper. Interesting. Is still going for the Rax Expand. So CC is going to be thrown down. Again, Trigger just being as annoying as possible. But because of this, ByuN Scout is going to be delayed. There's no SCV Scout and there's no Reaper Scout either. There's just no scouting whatsoever. I mean, it is more difficult to scout with the Reaper just because of the Reaper cliff. It's very narrow and fully walled off. Here towards the left. Likewise, a more defendable natural base as well. And we'll see where ByuN takes us. As Trigger is soon to go into his tech of choice. We have yet to see a Robo opener out of Trigger. We've seen Twilight Council Blink, Stargate Oracle, and there it is, Twilight Council. Okay. Once again, going back to basics, going back to Blink. Twilight Council's on the way. I mean, technically this could be a DT opener, but it's very rare to see that. Players don't often embrace DTs. I mean, Geralt did take a map off of ByuN with that, true, did happen. But still a rare sight. So when it comes to Blink, the question becomes, how many gateways? 2-gate Blink, 3-gate, or 4-gate? Twilight Council is done. Second gateway is thrown down. Meanwhile, we just have ByuN working towards his drop. Again, has been stuck back at home, but is building up quite a hefty Cyclone count. Let's go. Getting to his second Cyclone, Mass Marine. The Marine count has been building up from the start of the game. And this is going to be a committed move out here by ByuN. Again, it's still just 2 gateways. ByuN's going to be pushing. Shout out to the turtle. Big shout out. ByuN does move out. Here come the reinforcements. Trigger gets 2-gate Blink into a third. Economic start at a Trigger. And no shield battery. No safety shield battery at the natural. ByuN with 2 Cyclones. He can break through this. How many Stalkers? 3. 3 Stalkers. 2 of them are in the main. And only 1 in the natural. There we go now. Second Stalker has arrived. The army is spotted. And ByuN, he goes for the dive. Boys have to be pulled. Probes are being pulled. Tanking some shots. A lot of work is going to be going down. Nice target finding. They get 1 of the Cyclones. Oh, that's 12 probes. That is 12 probe kills. Ay, ay, ay. ByuN, he wants the Stalkers. Gets one more worker as well. ByuN is going to be cleaned up. But that is a lot of damage. 11 probes for 2 Cyclones. 2 Cyclones and 5 Marines. Now, to be fair, that could have ended the game. We have seen ByuN kill many a Protoss player before with that timing. Trigger holds. Trigger holds, and Trigger has a third. So even though Trigger lost 11 workers, he can replace them with that fast third base. Whew, okay. We hold, Pappy, we hold. Again, that was a messier defense just because there was no shield battery and no overcharge. Again, Trigger did miss the move out. Does defend nonetheless. Behind this, ByuN getting to his 3-1-1. Is settling in. Behind this, a massive shout to Round back to the chat. Papi, thank you so much for resubscribing for 9 months. 9 months, Papi. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for being there. We do appreciate it. Do appreciate it, Papi. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. As Trigger is settling into a 3-base economy and now taking up. We have Charge on the way. We have the Bay as well for Colossus. Speaking of, Liberator does slip into the main. Does go for the siege. Main army's moving out. Probes are going down. Late reaction out of Trigger. Yeah, very late reaction. Was distracted by the main army. Stalker does fall. ByuN going for a tri-pronged attack. Lib in the main. Drop of the third. And the main army is pushing. Trigger getting pulled apart. 6 probes going down. GG gets called. It's just too much. As he cannot keep up with the main army, and ByuN will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's Tenacious Turtle Tussle champion. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN, as he is going to be our back-to-back champion. Last week he took down Shin in a best of 5. This time he takes down Trigger. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN. But a shout out to Trigger. A shout out to Trigger because Trigger, he popped off this week. Coming into this tournament, I was favoring Shin. I was favoring Shin to have a rematch against ByuN. I was expecting that to happen. Shin was the number 2 seed. ByuN was the number 1 seed. but Trigger did deny that. And when it comes to the series of the night, if you missed out on the semifinals, I do recommend the VODs. I recommend Shin versus Trigger. Shin versus Trigger was the highlight of the night. It was by far the best series of the tournament. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of chaos, and yeah, just something very different, very chaotic, very intense, very back and forth. A wild series. I do recommend. GG. GG, well played. I do recommend it. Alas, Trigger did fall to ByuN here in the grand finals. Did hold his own, and a lot of these games were quite close as well. ByuN did take it in the end. But alas, Trigger, he was so close to defending and holding in what, game 1, game 2 as well. Very intense games. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN. And with that, the week of ByuN continues. ByuN last night was playing in a show match, here this morning playing in this event, and tonight I'm sure we're going to be seeing him again. Not just ByuN, but Shin and Trigger as well. What is tonight? The Warty TV Monday Cup. That is going to be in, let me just double check, I believe in 9 hours? 8 hours, okay. In 8 hours time, we're going to be live once again here on the channel with the Warty TV Monday Cup number 2. Oh boy, so the Korean players are going to be reprising their role here. Likewise, Trigger is in Korea, so Trigger, he will most likely also be there as well. Likewise with ByuN, Shin, and many other Korean players as well. Now, this the Warty TV Monday Cup is slightly later than the ESL Asia Cup was, so it is a little bit more friendly towards European players. So we do have more European representation in that tournament as well. Likewise, the home server is Americas, not Korea, so it is a little bit more friendly towards whether it's Europeans or American players or North American players competing in that event. So we do have a little bit more diversity, thankfully. Does lead to larger brackets and more intense gameplay. So if you are unsatiated, if you want some more StarCraft, we got you covered with the Warty TV Monday Cup later on tonight in 8 hours. Likewise, tomorrow in, what is it, 21 hours time? Around 21 hours or so, we're going to be live here on the Cranky Ducklings with the Ursasaurus Cup. What is the Ursasaurus Cup? It's quite similar to this tournament, except instead of a turtle, there's a bear and a dinosaur. It's a hairy dinosaur instead. It is the Ursasaurus Cup. It is another open tournament, more catered towards the NA time zone. Similar to this one, so similar start time, but on Mondays instead of Sundays. We will also be casting that on this channel, so back to back, we have the Warty TV Monday, and we have the Ursasaurus Cup as well. So plenty more content on the horizon. Do tune in, and I'm sure ByuN is going to be there again. Last week, ByuN was there for every single weekly. He was putting in the work, he was very active, and yeah, taking most of the money last week. We'll see if that continues this time. We will see. Here we go. And with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate the support. If you want to help support this tournament, you can do so via Matcherino. I should also, there we go, pay out the predictions as well. But yeah, exclamation mark Matcherino in the chat. Likewise, exclamation mark Patreon as well. Both ways to fund our tournaments, both ways to fund our events, and to support the Cranky Ducklings. So if you wish, you can do so via Patreon and via Matcherino. Otherwise, following us is the least that we ask of. Following us on Twitch, following us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a Discord server as well where you can interact outside of just these broadcasts. And yeah, plenty of content here on the Cranky Ducklings. We cast on a daily basis. So many VODs available on YouTube. There's a lot of VODs, papi. Aye. So plenty of content out there if you are interested. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. If you want to even have some of these replays, if you want to watch some ByuN versus Trigger or Trigger versus Shin, we do provide replays to our subscribers and patrons as well. So if you want to support us and if you want some benefit of it, then alas, replay packs are something that we do give out to our subscribers and patrons as well. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping things up. Ladder time, no shot. no shot, papi, no shot. I mean, I would usually ladder, and I could ladder, but I just mentioned we have another cast in 8 hours. So I'd rather not cast than ladder stream and then cast. That's crazy. I did that last week. I did it last week, it probably wasn't a good idea. It wasn't a good idea. So as we wrap up this event, I'm probably going to get some breakfast. I haven't eaten yet. I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Gonna go take a break, edit VODs, schedule VODs, and ideally have a nap. I'm probably gonna have a nap so I can be well rested for the Woody TV Monday, for the Monday Cup. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Get some food, schedule VODs, have a nap, get some rest, get some veg, and we'll be back for some more StarCraft. More StarCraft. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We do appreciate it. Yeah, that's going to be tomorrow. Orsosaurus is going to be tomorrow as well. So again, back to back to back. Oh, the StarCraft. Yeah, that's going to be after the Wardy event. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. If you want to stick around, we're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Who is live at the moment? Who is streaming? I see Ender's online. Oh, thank you so much. No Ganzo. Thank you so much for subscribing for the first time with Prime. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy your emotes. Hope you enjoy your replay packs. Again, you can join us on Discord to gain access to the channel, which does have all the replay packs all filed and all listed if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you for the support. And again, who is live at the moment? There's Practice X, there's Ender, there's Reaper. We'll give some love to Ender. To Caviar Napoleon Marquises Acampado. Oh my god. Ender himself. Filipino Zerg player. Give him some love. Give him some support. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in 8 hours for our next cast for the next tournament. Until then, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Hasta luego, papi. Hasta luego.